It's going to sound a little complicated, but this is what happens. In every state, on November 5th, on a general election, the people in every state are not voting for the president. Who are they voting for? They're voting for a slate of presidential electors. A slate, a set of presidential, there's multiple slates, which are multiple names of presidential electors in a state. If that slate gets elected, that slate of presidential electors have agreed many weeks after the general election, which is actually I think the second Wednesday or the first Wednesday after the second Monday in December, which would be December 17th, 2024. That slate of presidential electors then elects their pledged candidate. Okay, so let me walk you through an example. So in the state of New Jersey, which roughly has a population of around 10 million people, okay? How many, they have representatives already in the federal government, right? They have two senators, right? Plus they get roughly 12 representatives in the lower house. So 12 plus 2 is what? 14. So what happens is, if you want to run for president, what has to happen is, in New Jersey, you would have to get a slate of presidential electors who say, we are going to vote for CryptoRick if we get elected on December 17th. But they get elected when? On November 5th. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's like they vote for the batch, and then the batch then takes their
Yeah, if they get elected. So it's a batch of people. We call it a slate of presidential elector candidates, to be specific. Okay. So therefore, if you take the state of New Jersey, a slate of elector candidates, 14 of them, one slate has pledged, their pledged candidate is who? Donald Trump. Another slate of presidential elector candidates, their pledged candidate for president is Kamala Harris. Another slate of 14 presidential electors, candidates, have pledged their vote to me, Dr. Shiva. Okay? So there's 3 sets of pledged slate or batch or slate of pledged candidates, okay? 14 in each. Up until the 1900s, the early part of the 20th century, when you went to vote in New Jersey, when you walked into the ballot, you never saw the names of Donald Trump or Dr. Shiva or Kamala Harris. Whose names did you see? You saw the list of the 14 presidential elector candidates for one of the pledged candidates, the next 14 and the next 14. So if you had 3 presidential elector candidates running, you would see how many? 42 names. And you can mix and match, all right? Does that make sense? So if you have 10 people who are pledged candidates, me, Trump, Harris, I don't know, Clinton, Bush, right? 10 people, you'd have 140 names. Okay? This was getting quite cumbersome. Printing costs, right? So every ballot, if you're distributing ballots to 10 million people, 10 million times 140, you have to print 1.4 billion times those names. Okay? Think about it. So what they decided in the early part of the 19th century or the 20th century is they said, we're going to take this slate and put a label on them. And the label is going to be the name of the pledged candidate. It was just a label. Does that make sense? So let's say you had 14 people who said they would vote for you if they were elected November 5th on December 17th. They said the label is going to be CryptoRick. Okay? So when you went to vote and you saw CryptoRick, they're not voting for you for the office of president. There is no office of president at the state level. There's the office of electors. Okay? So they are voting, when they see your name and they check off your name, they're not voting for you. They can't vote for you legally. because that comes after on December 17th. They're actually voting for your slate of electoral candidates. So one vote, let's say, goes to you. Someone else may step in, they see Dr. Shiva, which is my elector candidates who said they pledged a vote to me. When they're not voting for me. That's just a convenience. And I would say so many judges, so many lawyers, so many law students don't even know this concept. It's called the Electoral College. So when they check my name, they're not voting for me because every state is an independent state. There is no office of the president in a state. You can vote for the House of Representatives. You can vote for senator. You can't vote for the president. You can vote for the electors. That make sense?
Let's ride.